in Mission Viejo, California, January 18, 1986. A serial killer is hunting. 23-year-old Saddleback College communications student Robin Bradley is about to become his first victim. He veers off the interstate for the college. Then he idles around the dimly lit parking lot, confident his chances are high in finding some young, unsuspecting woman on campus.
Robin has just finished volunteering for a piano recital at a performing arts center. Unfortunately, she's a young woman in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He lurks in the shadows, stalking her before grabbing her from behind. For the briefest of moments, he holds her tight, quickly glancing to make sure no witnesses are around. Robin is terrified, pulling at his hand, trying to scream for help.
Soon after she gave up her purse, he began to stab her multiple times.
He keeps stabbing even after she's down. He keeps at it, in fact, until a car moving through the parking lot scares him off.
Her body is discovered moments after the attack by a college professor.
An individual who had been given a ride to her car came upon the scene and immediately notified the authorities, called 911.
Orange County homicide detectives arrive on the scene to one of the most gruesome killings they have ever encountered in Mission Viejo.
Robin was stabbed 41 times. She was laying in a pool of her own blood next to her car. Next to her body was her open purse. Nothing was taken.
The professor is asked to ID the body. She can barely say her name. She's so upset. Robin was her student.
They had very little, if anything, to go on. They had no solid leads. They could not even determine a motive. There was no evidence a robbery had taken place. The police had to assume that her killer must have known her. There must have been some personal connection, some personal reason for this horrific crime.
Typically, detectives would start with the people closest to the victim, boyfriends, family, close acquaintances, and they would move further out to classmates or co-workers, people a little further away in terms of a relationship.
After months of investigation, the case drags on.
It was clearly a mysterious, horrific crime that left the police very little to go on. And it shocked the conscience of the entire community.
It creates an intense amount of anxiety, especially when homicide detectives sit in on Robin's classes, gauging possible suspects.
But true suspects never really materialize here. They can't find anybody that would, really want to hurt her. She was outgoing, pretty, very intelligent. She was full of life, and everyone loved her.
By all reports, Robin was a wonderful, delightful, intelligent, funny young lady, responsible young adult, had several friends, was destined for great things. And the person that killed her prevented all of those great things that Robin was destined for.
It was a joy to be with. She was very happy. She liked to make people laugh. She was interested in writing, but Saddleback has a really good communications department. She was a disc jockey and did the news and public service announcements, and she was good at it, and she liked it. We were blessed to have this girl in our lives for 23 years.
Robin's murder whips into a sensationalized media storm, criticizing homicide investigators' inability to produce a prime suspect.
They could find no offender. They had no solid leads to go on.
There's been quite a bit of concern around Mission Viejo with the case dragging on for so many months.
You really have to be aware of the fact that surveillance cameras, especially on college campuses, weren't what they are today. And you combine that with the fact that there were no witnesses and no physical evidence, it made it really difficult to nail down a suspect.
One can only imagine how traumatic this is for Robin's family.
Initially, when the phone would ring in the beginning, the first year or two, I would think, maybe that's the sheriff. They're going to tell us that they've made an arrest. And then after the years went on, it just I'd really pretty much given up hope.
The FBI puts their skilled profilers on the case because you want to ensure, as an investigator, that there isn't already somebody in the federal system worth looking at.
But FBI profilers find no matches to active killers in their database. The simple truth is, the investigation is going cold. Quickly.
No detective ever wants to face a grieving family without being able to provide them some sort of closure, some information as to what happened to their loved one. You know, for a detective, really, that means failure. It's beginning to look like this mysterious, faceless killer is going to get away with it.
With all investigative avenues exhausted, Robin Brandley's murder ends up in Orange County Homicide's cold case files. But what authorities do not know is that Robin is just the beginning. 2,000 miles away, and 10 years later, in the district of Wolf Lake, south of Chicago proper, he strikes again.
Mid-April of 1996, a person during the morning hours, a nature walker of sorts, was walking near Wolf Lake, near the shoreline, when he discovered a nude body of a female floating face down. He immediately called 911, and both police from Hammond, Indiana, as well as the Chicago police arrived. It was discovered that the body was on the Illinois side of the lake, so the Chicago police had jurisdiction over this matter.
There's not a lot of evidence. There's no clothing or any of her personal belongings left behind.
Wolf Lake is a very, very remote, secluded lake between the Illinois-Indiana border, an industrial area. Nobody lived nearby it. Nobody worked near it. Certainly at night, it was a perfect place to be alone with somebody.
Wolf Lake is a small lake just between Chicago and Hammond. It's sort of famous back in the days of Capone for having bodies dumped there. But since that time, it's become more of a natural reserve with recreational sport and kind of a day fishing spot.
Detectives arrive on the scene.
She had been shot twice. Her naked body had been removed by fire department personnel and transported to the Cook County Medical Examiner's office for an autopsy.
With no way to identify the young woman, detectives hope the autopsy will shed some light.
They found no identification anywhere near her body, no clothes. It was a mystery at that point, and she was considered a Jane Doe.
With Jane Does, dental records and fingerprints are typically run through police files.
They had to wait for the body to dry out before they could take her fingerprints. They did discover that she had a tattoo of a heart on her body.
A fingerprint match reveals the victim is 24-year-old Laura Ulacki of Hammond, Indiana.
Laura had a previous arrest for prostitution in 1995, so her fingerprints came up in the system.
There had been 2 gunshot wounds, one in Laura's face and another behind her shoulder. There were bullets lodged in her body. Those bullets were recovered by the medical examiner and sent to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab, where they were found to be 38 caliber bullets.
Police begin to look into Laura's life for possible clues that might help identify her killer.
Laura came from a big family. She had a lot of friends.
Around the time of her death, she was beginning to frequent some bars and clubs in Hammond. She was beginning to use drugs and getting involved with the wrong people.
Whether she'd been paid for sex by her killer is a possibility, which means there's a high probability she met him in the clubs she frequented in and around Hammond. And her murder turns into another cold case, leaving Chicago detectives stumped.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications.
What's my price? Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. Options start at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. Options start at $9.95 a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary plan. Use this valuable guide to record your important information and give helpful direction to your loved ones with your final wishes. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-600-7900 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-600-7900. There's no risk or obligation. 1-800-600-7900. Call now.
Meet EarthBreeze, a revolutionary laundry detergent that magically dissolves in any wash. There's no wasteful plastic jug, and it's water-free because you already have water. The future of laundry detergent has arrived. Learn more at earthbreeze.com.
But y'all, I get to decide when I get paid. My pay lets me get up to $500 of my pay when I need it. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. And that's why I Chime. Join me at chime.com and get paid when you save.
Precise designs, subtle curves, curated upgrades, elevated design for thoughtful living. Thuma.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
When you step into a Warby Parker store, you're immediately met by, well, glasses. But there's more than meets the eye, like contact lenses, top-notch eye exams, expert opticians, and affordable prices. Visit one of our hundreds of stores around the country.
I always feel my best whenever I'm working out, but I started noticing that my hair would get so sweaty after a workout and my scalp would get so itchy. My friend recommended the Jolie filtered shower head. Now with Jolie, I don't have an itchy scalp anymore.
A young student's savage murder on campus stuns the community of Mission Viejo and sends panic throughout the college. But the case goes cold when another girl turns up dead in a suburban lake near Chicago 10 years later. Investigators have no idea they're dealing with a serial killer, a killer who is but a ghost. July 14th, 1996. The body of another young woman is found in Livingston County, south of Chicago.
While still investigating Lori Lackey's murder with no real breakthroughs, another girl is found in the Vermilion River a couple hours south of Wolf Lake.
She had been shot several times. She had been stabbed. And like Laura's body, it was nude in a body of water with no identification. Fishermen had come to the Vermilion River, discovered her body, and immediately called the police. Her body was taken to the medical examiner there in Livingston County.
Medical examiners find that she had been handcuffed and duct tape had been placed over her mouth.
They did discover that she had a tattoo of CC on her body.
She's identified as 21-year-old Cassandra Corum.
She was a young lady in the Hammond, Indiana area. Cassandra Corum's family had sent out a flyer looking for her. They had reported her missing, and they were obviously very concerned about her. And it wasn't until this tattoo was identified and pictures of Cassie was shown to her family, and they identified her.
Considering that Cassandra is also from Hammond, it suggests whoever killed her is hunting in the same place, but disposing of victims somewhere else.
During the autopsy, the medical examiner had revealed that Cassie had been shot 3 times. One of the bullets was lodged in her body. That bullet was also sent to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab, where it was found to also be a .38 caliber bullet.
A month later, a third victim ends up in Wolf Lake, in what is to be known as the Wolf Lake murders. August 2nd, 1996. 22-year-old Lynn Huber, a known prostitute from Chicago, is also murdered.
Almost in the identical location where Laura had been dumped months earlier, and he dumped Lynn Huber's body in Wolf Lake. Lynn's body is removed from the water and taken to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy.
Lynn shot not once, but twice. The first shot kills her, so he then shot her again after she was dead. And there were a lot of stab wounds, predominantly in the back, that again were done after she was dead. This means that not only is he getting bolder, he's also getting more aggressive post-mortem.
Yet they have no eyewitnesses, no gun or knife, no real forensic evidence to find this guy.
However, when Lynn Huber's body was examined at the Cook County Medical Examiner's office, the medical examiner found a bullet lodged in her body that also was a .38 caliber bullet. All of those bullets were examined by the Illinois State Police Crime Lab, and it was determined that all of the women were killed by the same gun, a .38 caliber pistol.
So by early August of 1996, we have 2 police departments from 2 jurisdictions dealing with the bodies of 3 women who were found nude in bodies of water in secluded areas. All of these victims have been shot by the same gun. So police now believe they're dealing with a serial killer.
April 1st, 1997. Officers respond to a disturbance call between a known prostitute and her client at a Hammond hotel.
They had gone on, dates in the past. All of those dates ended up at Wolf Lake, where there would be sex in exchange for money.
She tells police that they had been arguing about money.
This lady had stolen some checks from a checkbook he had in his glove compartment. This infuriated him. They got into an argument during which he was chasing her around the truck with a knife, trying to kill her. The police were called, but by then he left the scene.
She starts telling the police he wants to drive out to Wolf Lake, take me in the back of his pickup truck, handcuff me, and have sex.
She did not want to do that. In fact, she didn't even want to go to Wolf Lake anymore.
What she was saying sounded very similar to the MO of the Wolf Lake killer. The officer even tells her she shouldn't be doing that because they've had women killed up in the Wolf Lake area. While he's listening to her, he recognizes the man's name from a previous arrest.
Following the motel incident, the officer reviews his prior firearm violation arrest of a South Chicago mall security guard named Andrew Urdiales, who tells him he's a former Marine.
He's so sure of his hunch that he prepares a supplemental report suggesting that this former Marine is a prime suspect in the Wolf Lake killings.
November 1996, he was working on patrol in Hammond, Indiana, when he and other officers came upon a crack house. Urdiales and his pickup truck and an unknown female were sitting in the truck out in front of this crack house. They approached the vehicle. They were interviewing Urdiales and this young lady, during which a search of the vehicle revealed a .38 caliber pistol. Urdiales told the Hammond police officers he was a security guard. He used the pistol for work.
Urdiales was not licensed to carry a gun in the state of Indiana, so officers charged him with a misdemeanor and they confiscated the weapon. A judge later ordered that the gun be destroyed.
You may be eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan if you are turning 65, have limited income, or you're moving. See how a WellCare Medicare Advantage plan could get you some big benefits, including this all-in-one WellCare Spendables debit card to use for over-the-counter health items. Find out how easy it is to get all of your original Medicare coverage plus extra benefits. You could have medical coverage, coverage for prescription drugs, dental, vision, and hearing, and the WellCare Spendables debit card to make getting the coverage you need more convenient. The WellCare Spendables debit card can be used for over-the-counter health items. And here's more good news. You can get a WellCare Medicare Advantage plan with a $0 or low monthly plan premium. How can WellCare offer all of those benefits for a $0 or low monthly plan premium? It's simple. Medicare Advantage and Medicare Part D prescription drug coverage are important parts of Medicare. WellCare has a contract with Medicare to offer and provide these important options to you. Call right now to get your free copy of the WellCare All-in-One Guide. Call 844-975-0005 now. There is absolutely no obligation for requesting this free information. WellCare offers benefits that go beyond the basics, and we make them easy to use so you can support your best health. Call a licensed sales agent to see if you are eligible to enroll today and get your free copy of the All-in-One Guide with absolutely no obligation. Your free guide will provide information to make a smart choice for your health care coverage. Just call 844-975-0005. Remember, there's no obligation for requesting this free information, so call 844-975-0005. Call today.
Hi, I'm John.
Hey, I'm Janine.
I'm Steve, and I've been a Consumer Cellular customer for 8 years.
3 years.
11 years.
When they asked me if I want to be in a testimonial commercial,
I said sure.
I said sure. I said sure.
but I got a tournament to get ready for.
Not if the fish are biting.
But it's a beautiful day. We started looking for another provider primarily because we felt like we were paying way too much.
I chose to switch because of the savings. It was amazing, way cheaper than where I was.
I could hardly believe that my bill was so small. I'm paying less than $30 a month. It's a great service for a great price.
Unlimited talk and text with flexible data plans starting at $20. Plus, for a limited time, new customers save $50 when you sign up today.
The place that I live in is heavily forested. There's a lot of trees. What got me to be a customer, really, to tell you the truth, was the reception and the coverage of Consumer Cellular.
I travel a lot. I need coverage, no matter where I am. And whether I'm in Augusta, Georgia, or Pebble Beach, California, I know that I'm going to be covered with Consumer Cellular.
I love to go far away places, remote places. I haven't had trouble with coverage, no direct calls.
Consumer Cellular offers fast, reliable nationwide coverage. Plus, for a limited time, new customers save $50 when you sign up today.
When we switched over from Verizon to Consumer Cellular, it was a really painless process.
Just kept the same phone. I kept the same number.
Anytime I call customer service, it's U.S. based.
It's nice to know when I have an issue that I can have a real conversation.
Customer service has been great. I just get a bill at the end of the month. It's on auto pay, and it's super easy.
And as AARP members, we also get a nice discount.
That's right. AARP members receive a 5% discount. Make the switch now to the most awarded brand by J.D. Power. New customers save $50 when you sign up today.
Call 1-800-279-2213
or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
I've been driving a truck all my life. A bear ran across the front of my truck, and I had to avoid him instead of hitting him. I got a good settlement for it and everything, and Dad helped me to go out and acquire gold and silver. I got the brochure from U.S. Money Reserve, and that's when I decided I can make more money with this than I could leaving it in the bank. Because if I put 20 grand of paper in there and I had 20 grand of gold, paper ain't gonna make me any money. I just bought it because it's my insurance policy.
If you'd like to learn more about why physical gold should be an important part of your portfolio, pick up the phone and call to receive the complete guide to buying gold, which will provide you with important, never-seen-before facts you should know about making gold purchases.
U.S. Money Reserve is one of the most dependable gold distributors in America.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
Chicago District Detectives have no clue a link exists between 3 recent murders of local prostitutes and a college student murdered 10 years prior in California. The 3 Chicago area murders have all been committed using the same gun, a .38 revolver. Hammond, Indiana police have just linked a .38 revolver in their custody to a former mall security guard named
Now, the Hammond, Indiana Police Department communicated all of this information to the Chicago Police Department. The Chicago police detectives raced to Hammond, Indiana as soon as they could and got out of inventory Andrew Urdiales' pistol that was destined to be destroyed. Thank God it hadn't been destroyed by mid-April of 1997, when that gun was analyzed with all of the bullets from Lori Yulaki's body, Cassandra Coram's body, and Lynn Huber's body. And scientists from the Illinois State Police were able to determine that that gun, to the exclusion of every gun in the world, was the gun that was used in shooting all of those bullets and all of those women. It was Andrew Urdiales' gun.
Detectives arrest him at his parents' South Chicago home.
He was wearing his security guard uniform, he had a duty belt on, he had a badge, and he willingly accompanied the detectives to the police station for an interview. He was glad to cooperate. He felt some type of a kinship with, real law enforcement officials.
Detectives interview Andrew Urdiales.
So they asked him where he got the gun from. He tells them he bought it for $300 5 months ago in Calumet City. He's almost matter-of-fact about it.
And they asked him, did you ever let anybody use this gun besides yourself? He goes, no, absolutely not. The detectives then told Urdiales that gun was used to kill the 3 women, the pictures of whom was laying out in front of him. He looked at the detectives, he smiled, he stood up, and he said, well, I guess I'm not going to work today. He took off his duty belt, he took off his security guard badge, and then he proceeded to tell the detectives how he killed Lori Yulaki, Cassandra Coram, and Lynn Huber.
Having been in homicide for so long, I can tell you it's unusual to have a suspect just give it up like that. The detectives must have been surprised that he was just ready to confess.
April 22nd, 1997. Andrew Urdiales is arrested for the murders of Laura Yulaki and Lynn Huber.
Today we're here to announce the arrest of Andrew Urdiales. He's been arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. And those murders are Laura Yulaki and Lynn Huber. A break came in this case as a result of a report that was submitted by a Hammond police officer. His name is Warren Fryer. And certain information was in that report that brought us into arresting Mr. Urdiales.
Urdiales shocks Cook County detectives when he tells them California authorities might also be interested to hear what he has to tell them. Cook County Homicide invites California's detective investigating the Robin Bradley case to Chicago's Area 2 headquarters.
We received a call from the Chicago Police Department that indicated they had arrested a serial murder suspect involved in several murders in their city, and indicated that they had strong suspicions that this could be the suspect involved in the killing of Robin Bradley.
Urdiales tells investigators about how he came to be in California at the time of Robin's murder.
From 1984 to 1991, he was a communications officer in the Marines. He was stationed at Camp Pendleton just north of San Diego. He wasn't too popular in the Marines. In fact, he was given the nickname Corporal Urinalysis. It's also said that he had an odd twitch that makes it impossible for him to rise in the ranks. He was demoted instead.
During his career, he was deployed in Operation Desert Storm. He was a radio operator.
Eventually, in his police interview, he gets around to the night he killed Robin Bradley. According to his confession, he got into an argument with some of his subordinates at Camp Pendleton, which set him off. Basically, his rage sent him speeding down Interstate 5 through San Clemente into the Saddleback campus. It's later in the evening by the time he gets there, but he notices a few cars still in the parking lot.
You described the parking lot? Dark. Dark parking lot.
He didn't remember her name, but he remembered how she was dressed, how he snuck on the campus that night.
He basically took a position in the shadows and waited. Robin Branley was just a random female. Could have been anybody as far as he was concerned.
Honestly, I wanted it first. It's like, just, what happens then? What happens then? Then, I just punched into her. So time into where? Her back.
From the beginning of his confession, you can hear how he weaves a disconnect into his narrative. It's almost like even though he's confessing, he's disassociating himself from any real responsibility. This is textbook sociopathic behavior. And so as anger builds to rage one night, he drives up the I-5 and murders an innocent girl. But he realizes he has to be more careful if he doesn't want to get caught. He'd have to prepare better and select victims that wouldn't cause the same mass media hysteria that Robin's murder created. So he decides to focus on prostitutes, runaways, people more difficult to trace. He rents a storage locker in San Diego to better organize and hide his weapons. He starts using a gun and stabs his victims after the fact. There's less chance of blood spatter once the heart has stopped beating, and therefore less chance of being caught. And hunts in cities further from Camp Pendleton. Some are deep in the California desert. Some are less busy than a college campus.
He finds his second victim in the Coachella Valley, in Cathedral City, just south of Palm Springs.
There's no shortage of prostitutes and runaway girls in Cathedral City. It's a very transient area. The second victim is Julie McGee, a known prostitute around town.
I had a 45, so I had the 45 on my seat. I picked it up, and I walked over to the other side, and I told her to get out. She walked over to the other, and I still pointed at her, and it went off. How many times did she shot? She was shot once.
But Julie, like Robin Branley before her, is destined to become another California cold case. It's only a few months later he starts again in San Diego. Mary Ann Wells is a single mother, a mature student, and she moonlights as a sex trade worker.
Mary Ann Wells was left in an alley in an industrial area of San Diego, California.
He's getting more confident, but along with his arrogance, his urge is now impossible to resist. He's going to keep killing until he gets stopped.
In Palm Springs, Urdiales finds his fourth and youngest victim, 18-year-old Tammy Irwin.
Tammy Irwin was left in the desert in the Palm Springs, California area.
So I remember her name was Tammy. We got in a car. Did you have a 45 with you when you were outside the truck? In my hand. The gun pointed at her. Okay. And slowly, I got my truck and I looked and I knew it was banding, but the next thing I know, the gun was pointing at her again.
The bodies of Julie McGee, Mary Ann Wells, and Tammy Irwin were found to have 45 caliber bullets in them. Those bullets were determined by authorities in California to be fired by the same gun. When Mary Ann Wells' body was discovered by San Diego police, there was a condom near her body. DNA samples were obtained from him, and it was discovered that was the DNA of Andrew Urdiales. So you had physical evidence that linked Urdiales to Mary Ann Wells' murder, coupled with the ballistic evidence that linked her murder to Julie McGee and Tammy Irwin, coupled with his detailed confessions to killing all three of those women. And by the end of April 1997, everybody knew that Andrew Urdiales was a serial killer, leading victims in both Illinois and California.
He kills again on a return trip to California in March 1995. Her name was Denise Manny, a known prostitute in Cathedral City. Hers was by far one of the most gruesome crime scenes they found. She was mutilated, shot through the mouth, and left in the desert.
He talked about how he had killed Denise Manny with his second 45 caliber pistol. He left this pistol in a locker storage facility of sorts in the Palm Springs area, where he kept that pistol, a machete, rope, shovels, twine, things of that nature. He would keep this storage locker there in Palm Springs with all of these tools of his trade so that he wouldn't have to take them on a plane back to Chicago.
With each killing, he becomes more and more confident he can't be caught, until that one victim rattles his confidence. He confesses to detectives that one girl in California actually got away.
Discover new Dove Whole Body Invisible Cream, a new whole body deodorant that's blissfully coconut and vanilla scented for all-day whole body confidence. It's Dove Care, made for anywhere. Try new Dove Whole Body Deodorant.
The only thing I don't like about payday is waiting for it. Chime lets you get up to $500 of your pay whenever you need it. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. I'm not waiting for payday anymore, and you shouldn't either. Join me at Chime.com and get paid when you say.
As the original host of Wheel of Fortune, I was blessed to be part of building one of the greatest game shows in history. During that time, we handed out millions of dollars to thousands of contestants. I thought, what if we paid the contestants their winnings in gold instead of cash and prizes? Back in 1976, we had a wonderful contestant named Lee, whose 3-day winnings were valued at $12,850. And you know what? That was a pretty big haul back in 1976. So I wondered, what would have happened if Lee had put $12,850 in cash and then put $12,850 in gold in a safe, just sitting there side by side from 1976 until now? We all know that $12,850 in cash would still be sitting there, but it would be worth a whole lot less than it was in 1976. But that $12,850 in gold, safely stored away, it's worth $135,000 as of the taping of this commercial. Now that's more than 10 times the original amount.
And since the taping of this commercial, the price of gold has increased substantially to more than 15 times the original amount.
And that's why I've been putting my money in precious metals for years, and I don't see any reason to stop now.
If you would like to learn more about why physical gold should be an important part of your portfolio, simply call to receive the complete guide to buying gold, including facts you should know about making any gold, silver, platinum, or palladium purchase. Call now to also receive our new 2024 Global Gold Forecast Special Report. Inside, you'll find the real issues on why you need to start owning gold today. You can also receive a copy of our new report, Protection in the Risk Zone.
With 2 decades in business, over $1 billion in transactions, and more than 500,000 clients worldwide, U.S. Money Reserve is one of the most dependable gold distributors in America.
Why is Navage perfect for allergies?
People who have allergies will have lots of problems. If someone's exposed to allergens, they can get rid of those immediately by washing out the nose. Navage works by pulling saline in one nostril, through the nose and out the other nostril, sucking out allergens, mucus, dust, and germs. Experience on-the-spot relief so you could breathe easier, sleep better, feel healthier. If you have seasonal allergies, Navage can help.
Available at major retailers or online at Navage.com. They were gunned down.
This is a Stone Cold Killer.
Now, determined detectives will have to trace the ballistics to track down their shooter.
We are all hands on deck.
Targeted for murder. Next on True Crime Network.
For years, I was stuck using traditional foundation. They'd always cake or crease in my fine line. That's why I created Bake, Balance, and Brighten, our award-winning foundation for mature skins. You'll love how it feels and how you'll look. Learn more at laurageller.com.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
This is not a dryer sheet. Earthbreeze is a new type of laundry detergent that looks like this. It's also so easy to use, dissolves quickly in any wash, and my personal favorite, no plastic jug. Learn more at earthbreeze.com.
I had lost about 50 pounds and kind of stalled. And then a friend had said, you ought to look at Weight Watchers Clinic. The combination of Weight Watchers and weight loss medication has changed my life. It's a different body, a different world.
Drive Time has a big announcement. An even easier way to buy a car. You make the deal yourself.
I made the deal myself.
It lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker!
Get the real deal at drivetime.com. Precise designs, subtle curves, curated upgrades, elevated design for thoughtful living. Thuma.
Serial killer Andrew Urdiales is arrested and taken to Chicago's famed Area 2 division, where he confesses to savagely murdering 8 women in California and Illinois over a 10-year rampage. But when he admits one girl in Palm Springs got away from him, detectives may have the witness they so desperately need.
During Urdiales' confession, investigators were careful to have him explain the killings and record it on tape, using details only the killer would know. However, they would still like to have their ace up their sleeve, for lack of a better term, before turning the case over to the district attorney's office. And that ace is the one victim who got away.
Her name is Jennifer Aspenson, and she's a certified nursing assistant working the graveyard shift in a handicapped children's facility when she accepts a ride from the absolute wrong guy.
Palm Springs, September 27th, 1992, 6 p.m.
One night, he is driving in Palm Springs when he saw Jennifer Aspenson, who was waiting at a bus stop, and unfortunately for her, she was late for work. He pulled up in his rent-a-car, asked if she needed a ride.
And I automatically said no. And all that ran through my mind is, I'm going to lose my job. This is a nice guy. Why am I so afraid of everything? And I just said, stop. Wait, I'll do it.
So she got in the car and started driving, started talking. She introduced herself. Her name was Jennifer. So we're driving and in the middle of small talk. Said something about being an actress, something like that.
He dropped her off at work, but before dropping her off, he asked for her phone number. She gave him a bogus phone number.
I tried to call her, but couldn't get through for some reason. It was a bad number, and I was kind of upset about that.
And he realized she had lied to him, which, if you're Andrew Urdiales, he did not like it when women lied to him.
So I got in my car and I go back to that area, and I saw her.
Sure enough, she's getting off work about 6 o'clock in the morning, and who's there? Andrew Urdiales in that car.
Asked her, hey, how you doing? She was last night. She was getting breakfast. She got in the car.
He came back the next morning, and he had gained my trust, and I trusted him. I got back in the car with him, and that's when he decided he was going to kill me.
And what happened next was a day out of hell.
And the thing I know, I saw her, I just reached over and I grabbed her by the hair, and then she got scared, and I produced the gun. So she was pretty much submissive. That why forward, and I told her to turn around, I tied her hands behind her back.
He has her tied up. He is brandishing this machete, this gun. At one point, after bashing her head onto the dashboard, she is overcome by fear. She passes out, and he picks her up and he puts her in the trunk of this rental car.
I walked her back to the car, and I opened the hood, and I stuffed her in there. Then I just pulled the trunk on her. Then I just got in the car and I just started driving off.
It's miraculous that she did not die after what she had endured up to this point. While he is driving with her in the trunk, she's able to release the latch of the trunk from the inside. He notices that, stops the car, tells her, close it. She does.
And then I tried to get back going again, and I got stuck. So stop. I'm sure I got stuck.
This gives her an opportunity to release that trunk latch again. She does. She escapes out of the trunk, half naked, injured, and she starts running down this road of sorts.
She had her hands free, and she still went her sweatshirt, and she ran screaming. And there were several cars nearby.
Lo and behold, there is a truck coming down the road with 2 Good Samaritans. They're able to rescue Jennifer. She's screaming, she's crying, and they wanted to chase after this guy. And she's like, no, he's got a gun.
So then last night I saw her. Unless somebody else picked it up and finished when I started, but I don't know.
Police are called, her mother is called, but by then, Urdiales has already returned his rent-a-car, and he's on a plane from Palm Springs back to Chicago.
It was very scary, yeah. Someplace I kind of didn't want to get away, because I didn't know I was going to be able to go in public anymore or do anything, knowing that there's such people out there, but I just got to be strong now, and all I tell myself is that I fought for my life so I can live my life, and I'm not afraid anymore.
This was in September of 1992. It did not stop this man because in 1995 he returned to kill Denise Maney. And then, as we know, by the spring and summer of 1996, he's killing 3 more women, this time in the state of Illinois.
Ms. Asbens's testimony would be key to the prosecution's case. It's beginning to look like Andrew Urdialis is finally headed for the gas chamber.
But it takes